Welcome, viewers and subscribers. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about having your building plan reviewed by a structural engineer before submitting that building plan to the local municipal authority. In doing this, you will ensure that your building is being built with the minimum reinforcement and the minimum size of your structural element to withstand the load and to deal with the environment that the building is being built. If you have your building being drawn by a draftsperson, a draftsman, this is a necessary step that I think you should take. If you have your building drawn by an architect, this is somewhat different because an architect would want to protect his or her reputation and their profession. So they will, after completing the architectural part of the drawings, they will pass on the drawings to the relevant professional, the structural engineer, the mechanical engineer, to ensure that the detailing or the design of the building in terms of its structural elements is designed properly to withstand the load that is going to be applied to those structural members. If you have your building plan drawn, especially by a draftsman, you would want to take this step because call a spade, a draftsperson does not have the expertise to design the building structurally. You might can put the floor plans together, draw the elevation, the section, but when it comes to the structural elements, you have to have a trained professional to review the drawing. When the engineer review the drawings, the engineer is going to ensure that the stiffeners are placed strategically throughout the floor plan, placed at every corners, every intersections, and spaced at a particular distance apart. Some parish council say, 15 feet apart. They want every stiffness to be 15 feet apart or 20 feet apart. It varies from parish council to parish council. So that is one such necessary step that an engineer is going to ensure. Second, the engineer is going to verify that your beams and your column meet the minimum area of steel, right? As you have seen from my previous videos, I've shown you how to determine the minimum area of steels for a beam and for a column. It is necessary to have your structural elements meet these minimum requirements in terms of size and of area of steel, right? Another part of this video that I want to highlight is that when it comes to your cantilever balcony, and by the way, I think my next video, I'm going to do a deflection calculation for a balcony because I've seen where some people have a cantilevered balcony without support, without a column support, and without a beam support. So if you have your draftsperson do your building plan with a projected cantilever balcony, more often than not, he's not or she's not going to be able to detect that this cantilever balcony needs additional support. So that is another criteria that I think is worthwhile for you to have the engineer review the drawings when a draftsperson have it done. All right. When it comes to your reinforced concrete slab, your reinforced suspended floor slab, the engineer is going to ensure that that floor slab is detailed properly. He or she is going to ensure that the slab is detailed according to the spans, whether it is a one-way slab or a two-way slab. Is also or she is also going to ensure that the slab have its over support, is one-third span, is quarter span, and its temperature and shrinkage bars. Okay, so that is very important. Another important part of the engineer review of your building plan is to ensure that your floor spaces, your floor dimension is not space that it is going to cause deflection in your floor slab. All right. So the what that entails is that for a particular span, the engineer is going to do is deflection calculation. So I know that some people like to have expansive dimensions, especially master bedroom. They want the master bedroom to be 30 feet by 30 feet without checking the deflection of the slab. A typical drugs person is not going to be able to pick that up, right? So engineer, when it comes to the building plan, is a very critical part to play. I know that when a building is being built, when the construction is finished and people or a person walk by that building, they often ask the question, who designed that building, which architect designed the building, not knowing that the engineer plays a vital role in the design of the structure, right? So another important part also that the engineer has to deal with is the foundation. The engineer has to ensure that the proper selection of foundation type is necessary to the building, especially if the building is being built in an area where they have weak soil. Also, the detailing of the foundation details, the concrete cover at the bottom, the concrete cover at the side to prevent moisture from getting to your reinforcement, especially in your footing detail. These are very critical components that the engineer should check, right? So bear these things in mind, and I'm just putting this video out there to let you know that while you have your drugs person designing your building, the role of an engineer is also critical, right? As I've said earlier, that with an architect, a registered architect, the situation is a bit different because the architects, they have their reputation to protect, and they are going to send the drawings to the relevant professionals for them to do their part. All right. One other thing before I leave, I want to put this out there that when I just started to do building drawings, working drawings in the early 2000s, you could do virtually any size building without the parish council ask you for an engineer stamp. Presently, nowadays it is different, right? If your building surpasses certain amount of square footage, the parish council is going to ask you to get an engineer to affix their seal to the drawings. All right. So some parish council it varies in terms of square footage. Some parish council it is anything over 3,000 square footage. Some parish council might say anything over 5,000 square footage. So it varies, but nonetheless, it is coming that even if you have drawn a building that is a little box, it is going to require an engineering seal because as I've mentioned to you before previously, this wasn't so much a criteria when it comes especially to residential building. Commercial building is different. You're going to need a engineer seal or an engineer design to review those drawings if you're doing a commercial building or an industrial building. But I'm speaking specifically as it relates to residential construction, right? And now we are seeing more and more for residential construction, the parish council or the local municipal authority is requesting of the draftsperson to have an engineer affix his seal to it. All right. So I've come to the end of this video, and what I want to highlight to you, I'm just shy away from hitting the 3,000 subscription mark. So if you're watching the video, I'm asking you to subscribe and like the video, and always remember to watch the videos until the end and watch the ads as well. All right? Thank you. Take it easy.